What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist here with
Gersh1.
And guess what? We're back at it answering more questions in another episode of For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. We also have super thanks. If you want to support the channel, ask away with the super thanks, and it is a guaranteed answer. We specialize in Warhammer 40K questions, so this question comes from the Gilded Noob. He asks, which time period in 40K universe would you like to live in, past or future? So in other words, what is the best era in 40K?
Yeah, that's really interesting because when most people think 40K, they're thinking of like the current time, which is the 42nd millennium. But there's much more than that. And I think depending on the past in which era we tend to look at, things vary dramatically.
Yeah, and the focal point of 40K is humanity, but they had, or every single race had its own little thing. So when you think of the best, you instantly want to think of the golden ages of each individual faction or race. And I think that I would never want to choose the golden age of humanity. Because even the golden age of humanity was just exploration. It was space exploration. You had STCs, and humanity relied on artificial intelligence. Very, very like sci-fi and boring. I want that grim darkness. That's why for me, my favorite era is the Unification War. So it's focused on Earth only, and it's the Emperor basically battling the different city-states or warring tribes that exist, the techno-barbarian war states that exist, and he's unifying everything. So it's like the Afric Empire, the Chinese Empire, and it's super, super cool. And just the look of the art from that time period, which is the Blanchitsu style, or the, what's his name, Blanche? I forget his name, but like
John Blanche.
Yeah, John Blanche. There you go. But yeah, so
yeah, if you want a better look at it, think Mad Max mixed with 40K.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what it is. It's really cool. They had psychers, huge epic battles, and we get very little of it in or like any type of either visualization, novelization, etc.
Yeah. What about you? Your favorite era?
I was gonna say the same thing, but I think being alive during the Great Crusade would be pretty cool. Because, I mean, Terra's just doing its own thing. It's kind of like in the background, and it's mostly about the Primarchs and the Space Marines going out and colonization, all these worlds, all these human empires. And, like, there's not really much going on Terra, so, I mean, I think we'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, if we got a focus on the Great Crusade, just like in the Horus Heresy novels, we would see that it's basically humanity encountering humanity and either like trying to get them to join the Imperium or destroying them because they don't want to join the Imperium. And it's cool to see the different the different worlds and how they change during the Dark Age of Technology, or during the Age of Strife, I should say. And how they're battling the Imperium. Yeah,
because it's really interesting to see, like, okay, the Imperium basically evolved and had technology go in this manner, but look at this human empire over here. Oh, they're using like atomic weapons as opposed to like bolters and stuff like that. So
yeah, I think one of my favorite stories of the Great Crusade is when Angron goes to is it Morningstar? No, that's
Magnus.
Yeah, I forget what planet he goes to, but he goes there to pacify it.
Was it Genna?
It's Genna, yeah. And basically, humanity has turned into a small group of psychically powerful elite that controls simulacrums. And the simulacrums are the ones that are actually on the planet. So when the world eaters, the loyalist world eaters, make planetfall, they're just being like covered by body after body of simulacrum. And then that's when you see like humanity has really turned into like a super powerful elite, and then just a bunch of like mindless robotic
biotics, robot cyborgs type things.
I think that's kind of cool. Yeah. So far in the Horus Heresy novels that we've been reading, or not Horus Heresy, but the Primarchs, which ones have been your favorite planet?
I really like the ones in the Ferrus Manus one.
Yeah,
because those were pretty cool. They had like crab / like walker type vehicles, and they used radiation and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think if Games Workshop decided to create some type of board game that focused on either the Great Crusade, specifically that, or the Unification War, where you see humans but just an alternate reality of humanity, I think it would sell.
Yeah, because right now we're getting a taste of that with like, was it Warcry and Necromunda?
Yeah.
Because you see humans from like different houses and like slightly different variations on power armor, but I want more.
Yeah. Full armies too, not just like little units of like your little Goliath gang and stuff like that. Good question though. And also remember that the eras in Warhammer 40K go as far back as the War in Heaven.
Yeah, even before that, like it's crazy how much of it is like almost glossed over. Like if you don't actually read into the lore and the history of Warhammer 40K, like you would just think it evolves all around Terra.
But it doesn't, right?
No.
Like you have the birth of Slanesh with the Eldar, you have the Krork, the ancient orcs, and then obviously what we just said,
The
War in Heaven.
Necron tier, the old ones, the Catan, it just spans a lot.
Yeah. Good question. Next one.
This one's by the real Henry Bayman. How do saints get resurrected? And would you want to be resurrected in this same way?
Well, I think it's different depending on the saint, and most saints, I think you're supposed to show the purpose of a saint is to show the power of the emperor and how he's psychically still present within humanity, bringing these warriors into back from like the dead, basically. However, I think it would be really cool if Games Workshop created a saint that was a false saint. So kind of like in the Catholic Church, there's a bunch of saints, and sometimes you hear stories of certain saints, and you're like, oh, I can see how they fabricated that. Especially like the mummified little girl or things like that, where you can like you visit the churches or the cathedrals, and you see them, and then you're like kind of like, oh, I can see some people just mummifying that and bringing it out and saying like, no, it's a saint. So things like that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, and I think it does vary from saint to saint. The most popular is probably Saint Celestine. She's died countless times, and the Emperor just keeps bringing her back. But it's basically like she dies and she goes into like, I don't know if it's like the Emperor's like Army of the Light or like the Warp or something like that. And she basically has to do these certain trials to get her life back to her. So that leads me to believe almost like it's not the Emperor doing it like on a personal level. It might be something more than just that. But again, we don't have enough lore to kind of fall back and say, no, this is exactly how a saint resurrects.
Yeah. I think it would be really cool if Games Workshop created a saint that mimicked Joan of Arc.
Yeah.
The story of Joan of Arc is pretty cool because it's basically a little girl who supposedly has visions or hears the voice of God. How is that not fake? You know what I mean? So if, let's say the Adeptus Administratum says that this little girl has, like, visions of the Emperor and she's building an army, she, like, grew wings and all this kind of stuff. So you have this really cool model. But the background of it is that it's just the Adeptus Ministorum lying. And then when she actually dies, she does get resurrected, and then the Ministorum is like, whoa, what? Like, this was supposed to be a lie. But she gets resurrected by a Chaos God.
That'd be interesting.
That'd be a cool story.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if there's already something similar to that in like the Sisters Codex or something like that.
Yeah, true. Because I think Joan of Arc gets burned as a witch. So she gets resurrected. Everybody realizes, oh, she's a Chaos devotee, and then they burn her as a witch. But now you have a really cool Chaos model.
Yep. And who do we know likes to resurrect people? Khorne.
Yeah.
So maybe a saint like, I don't know, a Cornet Saint would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Next question.
This one is by Brian B. You asked us already, so that means you got to keep on watching these videos, man. The question is, are we ever going to get a Gersh 2?
Yeah, I need a Gershette. That's what I said last time.
Yeah. Although you could just become like a Death Corps of Krieg and kind of clone yourself and have a Gersh 2.
Yeah, that would be cool, but then I have to raise myself. I don't like that. Even though I from what I've heard, I was a pretty chill kid. I wonder if that's just a thing with wargamers. Like, we were all those quiet kids who were comfortable just watching TV or playing video games. because the hobby itself is not. I don't think it attracts like super. I don't want to say flamboyant, but like super
charismatic, like, yeah.
Or just people with a lot of energy, because you're literally just sitting there painting for hours. That takes a lot of patience. Because I remember you weren't a wild kid either.
I mean, when I was younger, apparently I was. I'd be mad when I couldn't break the piñata, and I'd take a walk of anger around the block.
See, but even that's constructive, because like nowadays, if you get angry, what does a therapist tell you to do? Go for a walk. So you were already doing that as a mini sound alchemist.
Yeah.
This next question is not really a question, but Ranzori says, I remember when I first found you guys, y'all had a huge viewership. What the heck has happened? I always like and share even if I don't like the vids, lol.
This is a new channel.
Yeah, so this isn't the One Mind Syndicate channel. That's still up there, and not neglected, but like
we're still putting out videos. I'm trying to do one every other day, sometimes one every 2 days. So check us out.
Yeah, still talking about lore and all that kind of stuff. But then also at the same time, you get exhausted. I think we found a niche with the lore content. But yeah, like everything, if you do it so much, you kind of get tired of it. And I think for a while we hit a wall. And yeah, next question.
This next one is by eRock9. All of the Space Marines versus all of the Custodies. Who wins?
Chaos.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Chaos is going to win, because that's going to severely damper the fighting force of the Imperium. Now, let's look at it this way. There is a ton more Space Marines, and we've already seen that Space Marines are capable of taking down Custodies. So if you have all of the might of the Custodies against all the Space Marines, it's going to be a bloody battle, but I feel like at the end of it all, the Space Marines are going to win.
I agree. Especially with the Black Templars. I mean, come on. They're like 10 chapters in one.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's all of them. Imagine all the named characters that you have. The Primarchs, Gilliman and the Lion, they've returned. You've got Primaris Marines. You've got Librarians. It's going to be crazy. Like I said, a huge battle where, like, at the end of it all, yeah, the Space Marines are going to win, but they're going to be so devastated. Like, can they bounce back?
Yeah, I agree. So Space Marines for the win. And those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, please comment down below. We didn't get to all of the questions, or we couldn't answer all of them, but just ask again and we'll for sure get it. Or if not, just a super thanks.
That's right. And keep those questions coming, and so will we. As always, it's been the Sound Alchemist here with
Gershwan.
And we are out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.